Hello and welcome back to my design studio. Today I am going all Easter, all out Easter, and what I've got displayed back here are some of my Easter cards from the past. So in the center front is the cross. It is new this year, along with this pop-up card. And we also have the butterflies and the Easter lilies and the Happy Easter egg card also for you to enjoy and bake. But today is the day that I introduce you to my pop-up Easter basket. And I think we're going to have a whole lot of fun putting this together. It looks difficult. There's a lot of little pieces, but it's very easy as a pop-up card. So let's look at it as it opens up. Here's the front of the card. I cut out of some pretty flowers that are repeated within the card. And so here the basket pops up. There's a little Easter bunny in the middle of the basket and lots of little flowers all the way around. And as you can see, we are repeating some of those patterns in the base. So it's a very simple pop-up mechanism. So let's get started putting this together and having some fun. First I want to explain to you some of the files that are in the kit that you have purchased. There are several PDF files. The first one that I'm showing you here is a PDF of all the pieces within the kit. And they are color coded. As you can see, there's a legend on the side that matches the colors that are in the AC Cardstock Precision Pastel colors. You don't have to use those colors, but it does help you when you need to get some of the values. As you can see, the colors that I'm using are a lot more muted than the ones that I created my model with. So this is just for your reference so that you can see how the pieces are laid out, how they should look when they're put together, and what the bunny actually looks like when he's all together. I am not going to show you everything putting together. So for instance, I have all my little flowers stacked and put together. I think you can figure out how to do that. The circles might be a little bit larger than what you want it to be, so by all means make your circles smaller. The bunny is actually pieced together, and I have already put his front on. Part of this piecing is done with cardstock, and the other, like his face, which is very intricate, I have done with colored pencils or colored pens. But make sure that you have something that's white so you can put that little glint of white in his eyes. It makes his eyes pop out. I have special extra pieces. I have given you a piece for the butterfly that is on the top. You don't need this piece unless you want to change the color to put on top and over that. The base is cut in two pieces that will fit onto the front cover. Notice that when you fold it, when you place these pieces on it, you will be pasting it on the back and covering up those spots. I put them together using either a 1/4 inch or an 1/8 of an inch score tape. I tape it at the top and the bottom. There's no need to tape on the sides, on both sides. And notice that you can't see this, but there is a score line in the cuttings where the base is going to sit. So make sure that that's in your center. And it should be equal distance all the way around. And there should be about a 1/4 of an inch gap in between. So you can put those together by just putting score tape around the top and the bottoms and placing those on. We've already talked about the flowers. We have little Easter eggs, and these little Easter eggs have white backing on them. I did not do that on this one and made a change so that you could put white behind it, but your template comes with no color in it. The bunny has a front and a back. You may want to put the front on both sides. I gave you a back in case that's the way you wanted to do it. Make sure that they match the back of the piece that is the back. And one of the reasons I like AC Cardstock is the fact that it has a weave on it, unless you get the smooth, and it helps you know which side is which. So the weave side, the weave on the bunny. So those pieces go together like that. And now we'll take a closer look at how to assemble the pop-up mechanism. Okay, so I just continued to work on. I put the back side of the bunny on the back side of my center posts, and I scored the lines on this center post piece. And we can score them now, fold them, and fold them down. They've been scored. And as you remember, they're color coordinated in the directions you want to fold them. So these are, first two here are valley folds. This one will be a mountain fold, and this one is a valley fold. And as you can see, these two pieces make part of the hexagon, which is what we have in this piece. And I outlined the score lines so that I could lay this down and show you that this will go in between this line, not necessarily lining up with it. It's a little bit off because we want to give you a little wiggle room, but that is how they're going to be placed on this card. So we can go ahead, and I use score tape on it. And these flaps are 3/8 of an inch. And you've seen me do this before in my videos where I turn the one edge up so that I can grab it from the outside. And I'm not even going to glue these two together. I'll just let them float themselves. Find where you're going to put it. And this one edge goes right along the inside base. Okay, and then this piece is the same. Notice it's right, this center gap is there. And we do the same thing on this side. Line the two of them up. So that when you bring these together, you can glue them at the top. Take off this little tab. And I like to use the adhesive instead of using glue on these because it kind of bonds better. center that pops up with the two sides. Now I have cut a extra piece to put along the top here to make sure that it seals together good. You need to score down the middle and then glue it to the post. And the next, we will be putting flowers on. Now that the centerpiece has been put together, this is a time when you want to put your flowers in, because once you put the basket around it, it's hard to get in there to glue. So notice the height of the basket compared to the inside. It's about 1/2 inch below. You have Easter eggs, you have flowers, and you decorate on both sides. I have used the little ones, the single stem elements on the inside, right next to the bunny, because it leaves it open right in front of him. So you just put a little glue on the ends, and place it in there. And then I do the same thing with this one on the other side. Now you can go up as high as you want to with the glue. I just do the very ends because I don't want to make it stick all over the place. That way I can still kind of move it around. And hopefully you can see the bunny still. And then I use the bigger one on the center tab. And hopefully when you do that, you can still see the bunny. And I put it in the center. You might want to use some different embellishments in there of your own. These are the ones that I supply you with, and they're about the right proportion for this little guy. Now remember, your basket's only going to show what sticks up above that. And then you can do the same thing on the back, or something different. I'm kind of a symmetrical person, so I usually do it in symmetry. And I'm actually going to tack these down on the inside, the ones that we just put on, so that they don't get caught in the mechanism as we close it. Just a couple little tack spots. Okay, let's put this one on too. And you can actually have it as high as the butterflies. Because when we fold it down, the butterflies stay inside the card. Now you might want to decide to put an Easter egg on the inside, maybe next to the bunny. Okay, I'm just going to put it on the front side. And you can put it next to the bunny or on the other one. He's not going to show up very much. Okay, so we've got those in there. The only piece left then is doing the basket weave. My husband says this looks like an antique basket. It's 10 sides, as you can see. I glued down the little moons on the fold over, the crosses down the center of each of the pieces. There's 10 of them. And then you just do a basket weave of your color. And what I like to do is I only do so far, and then I come around this way because there's really no way of gluing these down. I didn't give you tabs to glue those together. That way it gives it a better movement from the corners, because each corner will be this double gap of the wider. Now you can use the piece that I gave you and cut it out of cardstock. Or if you want to be fancy, you could do it with a ribbon and then tie a bow. But there's 2 layers, and I've actually done an opposite weave on each level. And I hope you're a little nostalgic about these, because this is the way I remember my Easter baskets, is having these bright colored bamboo type things going through them. And then to finish this off, I glue it to the back side. So it really just looks like a continuous ribbon going through. And then do the same on the top one. Remember, it's the opposite of what the bottom one was. Or you can make them the same. And I started out by gluing it on the inside. So the other tab is already glued down. And now put a little glue on that tab and fold it inside. So you see, it's kind of a round little basket, but actually it's 10 sides. There are 2 tabs that you will glue down, and I glue them into the insides. You can either use your score tape or a little glue. I'm going to use glue this time. It's a small enough spot. And they go right across from each other. Get your little flowers inside, and as you look down into it, it should butt up against inside with the inside mechanism. Hopefully you can see that. So you've decorated your little guy. Try folding it down. Opening it up. I didn't quite get it dried, didn't I? The other thing that I noticed when I was doing this is I forgot to tell you that these open areas, you need to take a little glue and glue those down because they catch on the basket as it moves back and forth, and they're not continuously connected. So let's get those in there so we don't have problems with those catching. Now, wherever you want to put your Easter eggs, you can put them on your base, you can put them around the basket. Just make sure that when you put them on the basket that you center them. Don't glue two edges together of the rounded part. And I'm finding that I like this pastel. It's quite cooling. And I do like the eggs down there too. And you can make as many of these eggs or flowers as you want to decorate your basket. And let's put these down here. And that's the end.